before chocolate became a symbol of love, comfort, and childhood, it was bitter, powerful, and surrounded by blood. The chocolate bar in your hand is the final result of a journey that began thousands of years ago. It has passed through ancient temples, royal palaces, colonial plantations, industrial factories, military battlefields, and some of the poorest farming communities on Earth. Today, chocolate is wrapped in bright colors and sold as a moment of happiness. But behind that sweetness is a history most advertisements would rather leave forgotten. And strangely, the story of chocolate did not begin in Belgium, Switzerland, or even Mexico. The earliest known evidence of cacao use was discovered in what is now Ecuador. Archaeologists found traces of cacao in ancient pottery approximately 5,300 years old. The people living there may have consumed the sweet pulp surrounding cacao seeds long before anyone created the chocolate drink we would recognize today. From the tropical forests of South America, cacao gradually moved north through trade and migration. Eventually, it became deeply connected to the civilizations of Mesoamerica. For the Maya, cacao was not a cheap dessert. The beans were roasted, ground into a paste, mixed with water and spices, and poured between containers to produce a thick layer of foam. The result was a bitter, dark drink that looked very different from modern hot chocolate. Cacao appeared in ceremonies, royal feasts, marriages, and religious offerings. Decorated vessels have been discovered showing rulers and nobles drinking it. The plant was treated as something precious, connecting wealth, politics, religion, and the supernatural world. The Aztecs also valued cacao enormously. Because cacao trees could not grow easily in the region surrounding their capital, beans often arrived as tribute from conquered territories. They became so valuable that they could function as a form of money in markets. Long before chocolate bars existed, people were already building systems of wealth and power around cacao. Then the Spanish arrived. When European conquistadors encountered cacao drinks, many reportedly found them unpleasant. The beverage was dark, bitter, spicy, and completely unlike the sweet chocolate Europeans would later create. But the Spanish quickly recognized cacao's importance. It was connected to elite status, tribute, and local trade. Ships began carrying cacao across the Atlantic, where European cooks transformed it. They added sugar, cinnamon, and other expensive ingredients. The bitter ceremonial drink slowly became a luxurious sweet beverage. Chocolate was no longer simply a product of indigenous American cultures. Europe was beginning to reshape it for European tastes and claim control of the trade surrounding it. For generations, European chocolate remained a drink for the wealthy. Preparing it required imported cacao, imported sugar, specialized tools, and significant amounts of labor. Aristocrats consumed chocolate in palaces from decorated cups, while servants prepared and poured it. Dedicated chocolate houses appeared in European cities. Like coffee houses, they became places where wealthy men discussed politics, business, gambling, and rumors. Chocolate developed a reputation as a source of energy, pleasure, and even medicine. Some people claimed it could improve digestion, restore strength, or increase desire. Behind the elegant cups, however, stood an expanding colonial system. European demand for cacao and sugar encouraged plantation agriculture across tropical colonies. These plantations were frequently connected to land seizure, brutal working conditions, and enslaved labor. The sweetness enjoyed in European palaces depended on people who had little freedom and received none of the luxury created from their work. For centuries, chocolate was difficult and expensive to produce. Cacao beans had to be fermented, dried, roasted, cracked, and ground. The resulting paste contained large amounts of cocoa butter, making it heavy, oily, and difficult to transform into a smooth product. Then, in 1828, Dutch chocolate maker Coenraad van Houten developed a powerful cocoa press. The machine removed much of the cocoa butter from the cacao paste, leaving behind a solid material that could be ground into cocoa powder. This invention helped make chocolate easier to manufacture, mix, and sell. It also opened the door to an entirely new product, affordable, solid chocolate. During the 19th century, manufacturers combined cocoa powder, cocoa butter, and sugar into increasingly recognizable bars. New grinding and mixing machines made the texture smoother. Milk was eventually added, creating a softer and sweeter product that appealed to an even larger audience. Chocolate was leaving the palace and entering the factory. Industrialization changed chocolate forever.
Factories could now roast, grind, mix, shape, and package enormous quantities of it. What had once required hours of manual preparation could be produced continuously by machines. Companies competed to make chocolate smoother, cheaper, and more attractive. They created distinctive shapes, elegant boxes, and memorable advertisements. Chocolate was marketed to families, children, and romantic couples. The industry successfully transformed a bitter, ceremonial drink into a universal symbol of sweetness. A box of chocolates became a declaration of love. A chocolate bar became a reward for a child. Hot cocoa became a symbol of warmth and safety. The violent and exploitative parts of the supply chain disappeared behind colorful wrappers and comforting images. The product had not only changed, the story consumers were told about it had changed as well. Chocolate even became a military tool. During both world wars, armies distributed chocolate because it was compact, energetic, and relatively easy to transport. Before the United States entered the Second World War, the American military asked Hershey to develop a special emergency ration bar. The bar was deliberately designed not to taste too delicious. Military officials feared soldiers might eat it as ordinary candy instead of saving it for emergencies. Chocolate traveled with troops into deserts, jungles, and ruined cities. It provided calories, but it also reminded soldiers of ordinary life at home. After the war, global manufacturing and advertising expanded even faster. Chocolate companies became international corporations capable of selling the same products across dozens of countries. But cacao trees cannot grow inside European or American factories. They require hot, humid, tropical climates. Over time, much of the world's cacao production shifted to West Africa, especially Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana. Growing cacao remains intensely physical work. Farmers cut pods from trees, open them by hand, remove the seeds, ferment them, dry them, and prepare them for traders. The process is vulnerable to disease, weather, fluctuating prices, and climate change. Many farming families operate with extremely limited incomes, even while the global chocolate industry generates enormous revenue. The distance between farm and supermarket also makes the supply chain difficult for ordinary consumers to see. A brightly wrapped chocolate bar may contain cacao that has passed through farmers, local buyers, exporters, processors, factories, and international corporations before reaching the shelf. This hidden system has produced one of the darkest problems in modern chocolate: child labor. According to the United States Department of Labor, Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana together produce around 60% of the world's cacao supply, and more than 1.5 million children work on cacao farms in those countries. Not every child helping on a family farm is experiencing the same conditions, and not every chocolate bar is connected to forced labor. But investigations have documented children performing dangerous work, using sharp tools, carrying heavy loads, encountering pesticides, and missing school. Reports have also found cases involving trafficking and forced labor. Governments, cooperatives, and chocolate companies have introduced programs intended to reduce these abuses. Yet the problem has remained extremely difficult to eliminate because it is connected to rural poverty, low farmer incomes, limited schools, and a complicated international supply chain. Today, some producers are attempting to build a different system. Cooperatives, certification programs, and traceability technology can help buyers identify where cacao was grown. Some companies are investing in schools, farmer training, environmental protection, and higher payments. But labels alone cannot magically erase centuries of inequality. Ethical certification can improve conditions, yet it must be supported by serious monitoring, transparent sourcing, and prices that allow farming families to live without depending on dangerous labor. The future of chocolate may depend on whether consumers and companies are willing to see the people behind the product. Chocolate itself is not evil. It has been part of ceremonies, celebrations, survival rations, family traditions, and moments of genuine happiness. Millions of people depend on cacao for their livelihoods, and countless farmers take pride in producing it. But chocolate has never been just candy. It began as a powerful tropical plant. It became sacred, then became money. It crossed the ocean with conquest. It was sweetened by sugar produced inside colonial systems. Machines transformed it into an industrial product, advertisers transformed it into an emotion, and global corporations transformed it into an empire. So the next time you unwrap a chocolate bar, remember what is hidden beneath the shiny packaging: thousands of years of invention. centuries of exploitation, and a bitter history disguised as something sweet.